Disabilities. My name is Deb Adams from the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood, and on behalf of a collaborative team of Connecticut entities that designed both the Connecticut Coaching Institute as well as the vision for this work, we're pleased to present this video about a coaching process. The purpose of this video is to give professional learning facilitators material to use with coaches as examples, thinking prompts, and opportunities for discussion about practice. If you're watching this, then you already understand that coaching is a powerful strategy for building confidence and competence with parents, caregivers, teachers, and other team members in being able to enhance children's learning and development. The video will focus on the 5 key characteristics of coaching as an interaction style outlined by Dathan Rush and Melissa Sheldon. We believe this style of interaction acts as a core set of principles and practices that are at the heart of the coaching process, regardless of the different coaching models you may know or use, or even where coaching occurs, like in centers, family child care homes, or private homes with one child. Coaches hold a powerful key to help adults recognize and unlock their potential to have great effects on the health, well-being, and learning for each and every child. So thank you for all your great work on behalf of children, families, and the early childhood workforce of Connecticut. We hope you enjoy the video and the discussions and practice that follow in your professional learning session.
Coaching is an interaction style that builds the capacity of the learner, the coachee, the person with whom we're working. Coaching is this framework for interacting with other adults. That framework can then be paired with a variety of different content. So we can pair that framework with conversations around early learning. And so we actually ended up doing a research synthesis of looking at all the research articles we could find across fields to determine what are the characteristics of the practice that really define what coaching is and inform us in terms of how we go about doing it. And in this interaction style really that we're using, these 5 characteristics are present. It's really not a pick and choose kind of a situation. We say the gift of coaching is that you get all 5 characteristics and you get to use all 5 characteristics. Learning coaching and becoming competent in it does not happen overnight, as we realize it takes practice. And we have to take those characteristics that we're learning and we have to put them into practice as soon as we can.
Joint planning is probably the most familiar aspect of coaching with most practitioners and definitely the most concrete. At the beginning of a visit, we would revisit the previous plans and we would talk through that and see how things were working. And then depending upon how that goes, we likely would then move into what our plan for the day was. And at the end of the visit, we make sure that we have a plan in place. It's the part of what they'll be focused on until we come back. The research was clear about the impact of having planning and what that meant for outcomes. It's pretty simple to ask the questions, what do you want to focus on? The hard part I think for us is to not say, how about you work on this, where we start losing the jointness of the plan.
I love a joint plan because families are focused, they come up with the ideas. There's so much better chance that they're, number one, going to practice and carry over strategies that we did. And then when we start the next week, we're all on board and ready to go. The goals that Hattie's parents identified were she wants to be independent, little girl. What she finds challenging is how to move her body from one position to another and how to move from one place to another. So what we've been trying to work together to figure out is what motivates Hattie? What activity does she enjoy doing? Hattie's so motivated by brushing her teeth. If we're thinking about where we might go with this, it looked like getting into the chair, we're still building that. Tell me what you'd like my help with the next time we come out.
Definitely trying to, help her get on this chair just because she knows already how to get on the other one. So I would like to do that. And obviously, help her, which is something that we always do, to help her, move on her own.
I have tons of strategies in my head but a parent knows their child best. They come up with the best ideas, or what motivates their child, or what's going to work in their family, in their life.
Jessie and I have been working together for a few weeks now, and we've planned intentionally together around open-ended questions. Those areas have been interest of Jessie, and I've sort of helped her with setting goals.
When she came, we were like thinking about, she was like, Jessie, and what else do you need help or something? And I was like, I have an idea, go help me with the open and ended question, because I know my kids are toddlers and they love to be asking questions and all that stuff. What is the best way to have a teacher to asking questions to them, and they're gonna learn more.
A coach understands that the coachee is the expert in their own life. They're their own expert in their own environment.
I remember we were talking about the mentoring other staff in your classroom, so that's one thing I want to make sure we get to. Is there anything you want to add to the agenda?
I wanted to talk about some transitions.
So the joint planning is usually comes from the agenda building we did at the last session. So today we knew we were going to talk about transitions and mentoring her staff, because that's kind of what we worked on last time. So we talked about it a lot, and now she was going to try it over the couple of weeks when I haven't seen her.
No, I think I'm going to try doing some of these things that we talked about, having the kids come up with different ideas.
Okay, so that's next steps?
Yeah, that'll be my next step, is to work with the kids to find different activities to do during a transitional period.
The relationship building is really, really, really important, and we always need to remember that. So it starts with the relationship. It starts with building that relationship. Recognize that it's going to be a partnership. You're going to do this together, and everyone looks at things differently.
We need the characteristic of observation present because it helps us actually be better coaches and a better support to the person whom we're coaching if we can see what it looks like in the situation.
Observation can happen both formally and informally. Observation happens while Jessie is taking a lead in an interaction with a child, a lead in an experience, or just facilitating an experience with a child. And I am always observant, right? I'm very observant, and I'm intentional observant because for once, I use it to highlight her moments of effectiveness, and two, I use it to inform our discussions and what feedback can look like.
To me, observation is a real give and take. So I get to see what a parent feels comfortable with, where they're putting their hands, or where maybe they need help.
So observation is a very important part for a couple of reasons. It gives me a flavor of her classroom, but also I can ask specifics. So talk to me about when you were doing this. How did it feel to do that? What did you learn about that? And I can talk about specifics rather than just kind of a theory floating around by itself. And I don't think teachers realize how powerful they are. They're really powerful. They can really make a difference in a kid's life.
We actually put the characteristic of observation and the characteristic of action practice together because they really go hand in hand. The action practice part is so important because we need the person trying and practicing the new skill and the new learning. We need them to operationalize it and use it in the real life context. And that's why if we're there and can observe it live, then we can support them, identify what worked and what didn't work, and then they can refine that and we can kind of move it a bit further down the road.
And over the years, we definitely have strong opinions about that when we're working with a variety of other adults, most people cannot develop new skills without practice in trying something. By just talking about it or watching somebody else, we see clearly that the outcomes for coaching are better actually the quicker they get to action practice during a visit.
What else live in the farm? Pigs live in the farm, right?
Well, we know that adults are experiential learners, very much like children. Adults learn by trying and doing. Awesome. So you were able to practice in between our visits. You were able to practice some of the questions with them.
Yeah, they did it. They were so good with that. Down a bumpy road. Uh-oh, let's see what he's gonna find.
Our next hope is that she's going to be crawling, and so we up the ante, we make the activity a little harder.
You gotta go to your toothbrush. You gotta go and get it. Okay?
Okay,
Okay.
we go get it.
Go get your toothbrush. Go get your toothbrush. Okay, go. Pull, pull. Good. Okay, you wanna put on your toothbrush? Like this. Look at mommy. Look.
See, you did it, yes! All right, the timer went off. What does that mean? All right, where is our box? Penny has to come. All right, what was our message? We are going to...
When you're first learning something, it's awkward and feels uncomfortable. It's like riding a bike, you fall down, you scrape your knee, it's not comfortable. But you need that practice. They can be doing something hands-on, or if they hear it, they see it, they touch it. Your brain is built for making connections, so that's what I'm trying to help her do, so that she tries something and then we reflect on it. So she's gonna keep trying things. And so this is gonna turn into, this practice hopefully will turn into a habit.
Reflection is that process of allowing the person that you're coaching to step back and think about what it is that they know, think about why or why not something is happening the way they want it to, and then for them to take the lead in thinking about what their other ideas are. I like to say reflection is really demonstrating respect for the person that you're coaching.
So what's the essence of what you want kids to be doing maybe differently?
I want them to be a little more independent.
Okay. So have you noticed a difference between what was happening, say, in September and now?
I think the reflection piece has been the most exciting piece for a lot of people I've worked with. We forget what the intent of what we're doing is, and we get bogged down maybe in a rule or two. So I really want people to let go of getting bogged down in rules and thinking, why am I doing this? What's really the big idea? And can I do that big idea in a better way that there's more learning happening?
What did you learn about yourself in your teaching, or did anything stand out to you? What have been some of the strategies other than modeling have you done to support their growth?
If I was helping someone learn how to be a coach, I would really want them to be thoughtful about how do I facilitate someone else's reflection. What are the prompts I would say? How do I listen? How do I nudge? So it's all about having someone to get into that analyzing place.
The reflection is important because it really affords the coachee or the educator an opportunity to gain different perspectives and to really think deeply about how the way that they do their work really can make an impact in the life of children. Was there something that you think that we could have done differently? Where else can you use open-ended questions, you think?
It really is what distinguishes coaching from consultation. And I'm not thinking about so I can give feedback. I'm thinking how can I support them in problem solving, and then together we can figure out what those answers might be.
We've found that there are 4 different types of questions that coaches tend to ask. When you ask someone to reflect, you're really open to the possibilities. I am wide open to how they're going to respond to the question. I'm not trying to lead them into a certain direction or lead them to a certain decision. We call that coaxing, not coaching.
This is one of the things that I think was hardest for me to get used to. I was much more comfortable with giving instruction. So what do we think about how she's sitting on this seat? Is this typical? Does this make sense? Is this something that would work for you guys? It makes such a big difference when I can say to a parent, how does that compare? How does that feel? How much are you doing? It lets me know, number one, that a parent understands what they're working on and how what they've done has made a difference for the child. I think at the end of the day, having parents realize they own it. My hands aren't magic. I have ideas, but they have the magic.
And we've looked at the data over the years, and we've really identified 4 different types of feedback. Affirmative feedback is really closely associated with active listening. I hear what you're saying, okay, I understand. Even the nonverbals that we do, they feel that you care about what they're saying and that you're demonstrating that you're listening. Evaluative feedback is very common. The literature says that people who are learning and getting that support want that.
I want to highlight your moments of effectiveness. I heard you when you said, Owen, what do you think you can do? You also said, tell me about the food the farm animals eat. You asked the kids about why they think the animals fell off the tractor when you were talking. And I thought that what was really effective in the way that you did that was that you weren't pressing for answers.
Informative is what everybody gets the most excited about. I always say ask before I share.
And we're so programmed to give informative feedback, to share our ideas. Really, we need to step back, take a deep breath, ask a few reflective questions, see what they know, and they're much more likely to use their own ideas than they are ours. But when needed, we certainly have information and ideas and suggestions that we can share.
But I also think what you're working on, and I'm clarifying here, so tell me if this is what you're thinking. You don't want it to be a teacher-directed activity. You really want this to be growth for them around how do I manage, navigate this transition myself. Right. And it could be that you're going to offer a little puzzle, it could be offer that you'll often maybe get someone started in a game, but you're really trying to grow their self-regulation skills at the same time. So you're being really thoughtful about your intention at that moment.
But if I do model, I want to do what we call intentional modeling. They have something specifically that they're going to watch me do, and then we're going to debrief that, and then as quickly as possible, I'm going to ask them if we're in that context where they can to try it.
What is Mama looking like? Mama Llama looking like now?
Down a bumpy road. Uh-oh, let's see what he's gonna find. What do you think he's gonna find?
And then there's the fourth dreaded directive feedback, which we really support people in steering away from unless you're in a circumstance where there's a safety issue.
We choose, when working with other adults, to do whatever we can do to build their capacity, because in reality, we're not going to be in their lives forever.
As a society, I think that we've been conditioned to always look for what's not working and for what is wrong. And I am really intentional in looking for what is working and what is right and building on that. My hope is that the impact that I'm making in the lives of educators and the life of children is transformative.
If I can show and educate a family about a child's strategies or needs, I think that we get to the child's goal 10 times faster.
I think my favorite part of what I do is when someone is at that place where they don't know something and then they take that leap because of a nudge or a prompt or a question or some kind of thought process that reflective process they went through, and then that light bulb, that moment of that jump, that leap. That's a really exciting part for me.
If I help that teacher with her confidence and her competence in welcoming any child, no matter what ability level that child has, into her classroom, then my goodness, that family's enjoyment and happiness of their child being included in that setting, that teacher having a good day because she knows she made a difference for those children. I mean, wow.
I've learned so much that I could do with my daughter, and also my daughter has learned so much too in this little bit of time that we have working with her.
I feel like confidence about my work now. I feel like I can do my open and ended question, like when I do everything in my class with my kids. She came here with the kids and the kids love her. She was always like, be ready for something, like trying to help me with everything. Like, she's a great coach, and I hope so all the coaches gonna be like her.
Sue's a good coach because she's honest and open and non-judgmental, but she also is mindful. It's helped me become a better teacher. Anytime you work with an individual, especially someone like Sue who's got a lot of knowledge, you improve yourself. Children benefit whenever teachers are improved.
What they tell the coach later is, because nobody's ever asked me what I thought before. They've only told me what I needed to do. But they asked me what my ideas were and what I wanted to have happen. And I was responsible for putting that plan together. And that's where coaching can really make a difference.